Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padre gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, that.
And good day, everybody. Welcome to the Padres versus Brewers Talking Friars pregame show for June 4th, 2022. I'm your host, Ben Fadden, coming to you a few hours before the Padres have their third game in this four-game series. It's kind of weird because last night I went live, did episode 177 after Joe Musgrove's amazing start. So it was it's just kind of weird. I feel like it's the beginning of a new series, but it's not because I usually do a series reaction episode. But nonetheless, we got the third of four coming up a little after 1 o'clock, 1:10 Pacific time. It is in Milwaukee. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Ben Fadden, I am your host. All right, the Brewers are 33-21 entering today's matchup. The Padres are 31-21. After three straight losses, they're finally able to pick up that 31st win of the year. Games on Bally Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan. As always, the Padres enter today in second place in the National League West, 3 games back of the Dodgers, I believe. The Brewers are in first place in the National League Central. They are obviously no games back because they're in first place. Like I mentioned, episode 177 is out now on YouTube and on podcast platforms, talking about Joe Musgrove, how much he should get, how much he's going to earn in free agency if the Padres aren't able to sign him to an extension, which would really suck. Talked about the collapse from Tuesday because that I hadn't talked about that, in full yet. And then I'll have the second half of this series reaction, I guess that's what you want to call it, after tomorrow's game. So if you want to listen to that or watch that, available on podcast platforms and on YouTube, and all the episodes available on YouTube and this podcast, on these podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those stuff, all those places. All right. Padres obviously coming off that win last night. 6 years ago today, June 4th, 2016, the San Diego Padres acquired some teenager at the time, named Fernando Tatis Jr., and they sent James Shields to the Chicago White Sox. I believe they got Eric Johnson back as well. No idea what he's up to or what he's doing, but obviously the headliner in that deal was getting Fernando Tatis Jr. back in that deal, and it changed Padres history forever. James Shields was past his prime with the Padres, past his prime with the White Sox, and Fernando was this guy who I don't think had played yet in a professional game, and A.J. Preller scouted him out, saw that he would grow into his body, and he ends up acquiring him and ends up developing him. And it was pretty much like an MLB draft acquisition almost because of how Tatis hadn't really played yet for the White Sox organization. So the Padres developed him. He played in Double-A, he did not play in Triple-A because he played so well in 2019, that spring training, that the Padres said, hey, you need to be on the roster. You need to start opening day at shortstop. Ian Kinsler, Eric Hosmer, Manny Machado, they all went into AJ's office and said, hey, enough. Bring this guy up. We're trying to win. Obviously, 2019 didn't work out, but this guy deserves to be on the roster. Same thing with Chris Paddock, by the way, in 2019, right? He deserves to be on the roster. And they both made the roster, and both had great years. I know Tatis got hurt a couple times during that year, but you could definitely see that this guy was special, when he was on the field during that season. That was Manny's first season with the Padres. So that opening day in 2019, that was an amazing, amazing opening day when you think about it. Myers hit that home run off Mad Bum. Tatis, I think he had a couple hits. I know he had his single in his first at-bat through the 5-5 hole. It was Manny's debut. He would have his first home run. I think it was at Petco. I think it was a day game. I'm blanking on who they were playing, but he hit his first home run at Petco shortly after opening day, and it was a great overall win. I think Eric Lauer actually started that opening day, which is kind of crazy. But we're kind of getting off topic here. It is the pregame show for June 4th, Padres Brewers today. But it's the 6th anniversary of Fernando Day. Fernando being acquired, changing Padres history, hopefully for the better. And he's now the $340 million man, and is going to go down as one of the best players to ever play in a Padres uniform. And he's hopefully the injuries don't happen throughout his entire career. He gets a little smarter and learns from, the motorcycle incident. He comes back this year, whether that's in late June or it's in July, and he really helps this team win. And he helps this team win for years and years and years and years and years and years to come. All right, the pitching matchup today is Aaron Ashby against Mackenzie Gore. Ashby pitched against the Padres earlier this season, May 8th. May 25th, sorry. May 25th, he pitched against the Padres at Petco. He went 5 2/3 innings. He allowed 1 earned run. And he has a 2.70 ERA going into today's start. And it's not a surprise. It's one of those where it's like, okay, so would it be his uncle? Is Andy. And so he had that Padre connection. And so when someone is playing the Padres and there's that Padre connection somewhere, it's kind of like, okay, well, he's going to do really well against us. And that ended up happening on May 25th. 5 2/3, 1 earned run. He has not allowed more than 1 run since May 8th when he gave up 6 runs. He has he's pitched 5 shutouts this season. Not the whole game, but just shutouts, not allowing a run throughout the time that he was pitching. So it's going to be another tough one. But the good news is the Padres have Mackenzie Gore on the other side of things. And Gore, I think, should have won the Rookie of the Month for May. He did not. Luis Castillo did of the Giants. He hit over 300, but Gore was tremendous. He has a 1.71 ERA. He's coming off a 7-inning shutout against the Pirates last Sunday before Grish hit the walk-off off the right field foul pole. And he had a 1.69 ERA in the month of May. And like I mentioned, did not win that Rookie of the Year. In May, by the way, Gore had 27 strikeouts, did not give up any home runs, and walked 8 guys. Tremendous. He was tremendous. And he's part of the reason why, right, that Bob Melvin's, has been so willing to go with that 6-man rotation a little bit, right? Give some guys extra days off because he has a lot of guys in this rotation that are pitching really well, right? It's not like there's like this huge weak link in the rotation. Say that 5 times in a row. And Mackenzie, it's kind of like is it in Darvish range? I'm not going to say it's Musgrove range, but you kind of expect him to not give up a lot of runs, throw pretty consistent strikes, and get into the 6th inning, get through 6 innings. That's what I've started to expect out of Mackenzie based on how he's pitching. And I know he's not on Joe Musgrove's level, but we saw that Milwaukee's lineup can go long stretches without doing much at the plate. So can Mackenzie do that again today? We shall see. Eric says, what a game last night. Yeah, what a game. On episode 177, I gave my thoughts on the full game, and Musgrove was tremendous. 8 innings, didn't give up any runs, allowed that 1 hit. I think Azócar probably could have gotten to that ball. That's going to be up for debate, kind of like could have Grisham gotten to that ball the other night on the Taylor Rogers versus Jace Peterson bases clearing extra base hit. I think Zokar had a better chance to get to that ball than Grisham did to the Jace Peterson hit off the wall in the ninth the other night. Um, but that was the only hit that Joe gave up. So obviously that's going to be highly dissected, you know. Um, Jason says Fernando's an amazing player, but a little immature. I hope he learns from his mistakes. What I take from that too is, and I agree that he has shown some immaturity a little bit, but you also have to remember that he's still very, very young. And you look on his Instagram, you look at his personality, he's someone that likes to have fun and likes to go on these hikes. And when he spends time with his family in the off season, this is probably what he's done his entire life, you know? But now that he's the star of the Padres and getting $340 million, and whatever he does in his life is going to be criticized or looked at, and he still wants to continue living life like he probably always has been, it's probably going to come as a little bit of a shock to him because he's like, well, I've been doing this my whole life. Why now do I have to stop? You know, I think he's going to learn from it. And you hope that he just, yeah, you're right, Jason, that he learns from some of those mistakes. And I'm not saying that he can't have fun or can't do, play soccer or anything like that, but it's just a bad look. Like when he played soccer and he fell, cameras are around. If you're going to do it, don't do it at the field, I guess. I don't know. Don't ride a motorcycle. I mean, it's hard for me to be in this position because we don't exactly know what happened. Like, do we know how fast Fernando was going during the accident? I don't think we do. It's just kind of, we just don't really know, and if you're going to play soccer, cool, that's fine, keep up your conditioning. But do you have to do all these, crazy tricks? I don't think you have to do that, Can you just kick the ball around, you know? And again, it's easier for me to say when I'm not as gifted as he is, and I don't have all of this accessible to me, and I'm not like for example, like if I went and played soccer right now and I fell down, no one would care, right? I'm just trying to go have fun and do what I want to do. No one would care. But when Fernando does it, there's cameras on him, right? People care because our passion is the Padres, and we want more than anything to win a World Series, right? And I'm sure the players do as well. But fans, I mean, let's face it, like, we're probably more passionate than some of the players about winning every day, right? The players, it's their job. Like, they care. I'm not saying they don't care, but I'm pretty sure that there's some players that they're doing their job, but if they don't do well, they'll shrug it off and they won't. One, it's a long season, so they're not going to be too hard on themselves. But two, it's their job, regardless of how they do on one day of the year. They're going to go home to their family and live life. And for some of us, we're going to be miserable that night, right? It's just a little bit different. And I know I probably went went way off from that Fernando thing there. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Eric says he feels like he jinxed it. Barely tuned into the game at the seventh inning. Just gotta love seeing a San Diego native carrying the team. Oh, so you're saying if you didn't watch the game at all, he would have done it? Like, with no hitters, like, yeah, was I superstitious the first one? Yeah, I sat in the same spot the whole time, keeping score. As I knew what was going on, stayed in that same spot, didn't get up. I don't remember if I needed to go to the bathroom, but I didn't. But now that we have that one no hitter, and two, I couldn't really be that and stay in the same spot because I was clipping highlights on my laptop, and my laptop was about to die, so I needed to go up to the counter in my room, in my house, and put it on the charger and continue watching the game. So I couldn't do that. But I understand what you're saying. But now that one no-hitter's happened, and obviously Don, Mudd, they talked about the no-hitter during the first no-hitter, and MLB always sends out those alerts about a no-hitter being thrown before it is actually thrown. Like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, but that's just the natural fan sometimes in us. It's like, well, this is working, so I got to stay where I am. This is working. I got to not watch the game because I wasn't watching the game when he threw 6 no-hit innings. So I understand that point, Eric. Yeah. All right, let's get to the bullpen situation, the bullpen usage chart. Again, at Talking Friars on Twitter, that I put out every day before every game. Yesterday, because of Joe Musgrove's amazing 8 innings, only one guy had to pitch, and that was Craig Stammen, who isn't going to pitch in high leverage situations anyway. So it was good that essentially the bullpen got a full night off thanks to Musgrove and then Stammen in the ninth, which is also good because Rogers probably got a full mental day off, because he said, what was that, Thursday night, that was his worst night of his major league career. And yeah, it was bad, didn't get an out. But you have the day off yesterday and you can clear your head, and now not only is hopefully his mind is clear, but now his arm is definitely fresh. Same with Luis Garcia and Suarez, and Chris Matt has pitched 10 pitches in the last 3 days, not counting today, 10 pitches in a game in the last 5 days, actually, if you look at this chart, and then Stammen, okay, if he's down, whatever. But you have Steven Wilson available if things go a little haywire, if that's where the Padres are only comfortable in him pitching, that in that type situation. So the bullpen, there's not a whole lot to talk about because they pretty much all got a day off yesterday, and that is definitely good news. Now for the starting lineups for today, I think both are out right now. For the Padres, looks a lot the same. I like Jorge Alfaro being in there. He's my Padre pick for today, by the way. Profar leading off in left field. Crony is at first base, so no Hosmer in the lineup against a lefty. It is a lefty, right? Yeah. Ashby's a lefty. Manny hitting third, Voit hitting fourth, Alfaro hitting fifth, Ha-Seong Kim hitting sixth. Azokar is in right field, so Nomar Mazara. I disagree with that. Grisham's in center field. Alcantara is at second base. So not the best Padres lineup out there. When you have Azokar in there over Mazara, I don't like that. I understand the matchups, and Azokar's a righty and a lefty's on the mound, but Mazara faced lefties in the minors, and I know that Aaron Ashby's better than minor league pitchers, but put him out there. I feel like he's going to have a bigger impact at the plate than Jose Azokar is. And frankly, I like the role that Azokar's been in, having some spot starts, but coming in as a defensive replacement or coming in as a pinch runner. I like that. Him starting games, I'm not so sure I'm a big fan of that when you have Nomar Mazara on the roster. I don't know if Brent Rooker's there. I'm sure he is now if he wasn't there last night, but have him off the bench. Having Mazara, and he can definitely pinch hit, might pinch hit today, but I was an advocate. I said it last night after the game. Play him every day. You brought him up, play him every day. He hit amazing in AAA. You're not going to find out if this Nomar Mazara experiment is going to work unless you play him consistently. And they haven't really done that the first 2 games, and now 3 games, not starting him. First 2 games, he had 2 at-bats. And I understand the matchups and all that, but put him out there. Especially the first game when the offense, not the first game, yesterday. I know the defense and all that, but you're telling me Mazara would have looked worse than Azokar on that long double? I don't know. I don't think so. But Alfaro's back in there. I like that. He is 6 for 12 in his last 5 games or something like that. I saw that from Kevin Acee in his newsletter. He's playing really, really well. So, yeah, he should be hitting over Nola based on just offense. Voit in there as DH. Manny in there. Crony's playing first today because of no Hosmer. when did Hosmer not play? Was it Thursday that he didn't start? It was recent that he wasn't in the lineup as well. So maybe they're really starting to play these matchups with him because um, his stats just aren't as great as they were in April, right? We went over his stats in May, definitely went down. And they were going to go down, obviously, because of how great his April was. But it was pretty bad, I think. Definitely compared to April. So maybe they're playing the matchup game more. And then with Milwaukee, Colton Wong leading off, Andrew McCutchen batting second, Tyrone Taylor hitting third, Rowdy Tellez, Keston Hiura DHing, Lorenzo Cain's in there for a second straight day, Jace Peterson's at third, Pablo Reyes at short, Alex Jackson is catching. I believe Luis Urias left the game yesterday early. I heard Don talking about it, but I think I was watching like one of the half innings of the College World Series, the softball World Series that I've been getting really into. And they said something about an injury, and Craig Counsell wasn't happy. So, and Arias, I think, dealt with injuries already this year. So Pablo Reyes is in there. He has a 0 batting average, so I'm not sure if he hasn't had an at-bat yet this year. He's 28 years – 2 at-bats. I forget if he was probably the one that came in after Arias got hurt last night. But just to round it up before what to watch for and Padre pick and all that, 1:10 Pacific time is the first pitch. Gore against Ashby, Bally Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan, MLB Network for out-of-market people only. And yeah, that's the info. What to watch for is, can they get more runs off of Ashby this time around after facing him in May? The bullpen's rested, so if there's a save situation and it's Mackenzie Gore on the mound, let's say he goes 6 innings. So are you going to go Garcia, Suarez, Rogers? I would think that's probably what they go with. And then Mazzara not starting, Rooker not in there. So which of those will get an at-bat today, or maybe both of them do? I think that you're going to see Rooker DH for Voit at some point. Maybe it might not be this series if Voit continues playing this well, but I think that's what you're going to see at some point because they do need to get Rooker some at-bats, right? And then Mazzara not starting, you would think that he's primed for a pinch hit role, whether that's for Zokar late in the game or for someone else. If they're down, it's the 9th inning. You would think that he's going to get in there. I mean, he's made a lot of contact this year. Has he struck out yet these last couple games? I don't think he has. So watch that. Padre pick yesterday was Eric Hosmer. He went 1 for 5, got a hit in his first at-bat. I'm 32-15 now in my Padre pick, pregame show Padre pick. Again, if you're new, I hope you subscribe to this YouTube channel, daily Padres content. In this pregame show, I have a Padre pick every day before every game. The one Padre I think will get a hit if I could only pick one guy. And I mean, I could pick Manny every time, and I would have a pretty darn good percentage, but I don't want to pick Manny every day. Today, I'm going to go with Jorge Alfaro because he's been hot, and he got the right versus left matchup. All right, before we get to some chat comments and questions here, if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. Let's see, some NL West action. Arizona's in Pittsburgh today. Miami is hosting the Giants. The Dodgers are hosting the Mets. It's a little after 7. And the Rockies are hosting the Braves a little after 6. Tyler Anderson for the Dodgers has a 26-inning scoreless streak. Holy cow. Not good for us. Let's look at some injury updates. Clayton Kershaw. He's going to make a rehab start on Sunday. Expected to make 1 rehab start before his return. Let's see. Bryce Harper was back in the lineup on Friday after being scratched with right forearm soreness. He is still the DH because he can't throw right now with the UCL. Gene Segura needs surgery on his fractured right index finger, expected to miss 10 to 12 weeks. The Phillies also have changes in the manager seat. Rob Thompson is the interim manager. Joe Girardi got fired yesterday morning. His team was like 22-29 entering yesterday, just really bad. The bullpen was bad, and it felt like listening to Philly sports radio on the Odyssey app and on IR radio and all that. It felt like a lot of the fans and the sports talk heads there thought that he just didn't really have life, like as the manager. Like they needed someone with more life, and he was just like serious all the time, and everyone it wasn't relaxed. And with Joe Girardi, I could definitely see that. But I tweeted this on my personal Twitter at Ben_Fadden. I think that's what it is. I tweeted, I'll never get the teams firing a manager and then having the bench coach be the interim manager, and then the GM saying, or the president of baseball ops saying, "Oh, we just thought we needed a new voice." Well, the guy that you're having be the manager now for the rest of the year, that's not a new voice. He was on Girardi's coaching staff. How is that a new voice? And some might make the argument, well, Ben, the bench coach might have a different personality or might have different thoughts than what the manager did, and that might be better for the team. Well, if that was the case, then were you really forming the best coaching staff? Like, I know it's good to have different viewpoints and all that, but if you're disagreeing on like fundamental things where it's a literal new voice is what the GM and the president of baseball ops thinks, then did you really form the best coaching staff? I don't think so. So that's the Joe Girardi stuff. Ronald Acuna returned to the lineup yesterday for the Braves. He was sore from playing right field on Tuesday. Remember, he's still coming back from that injury. Wilson Contreras was out of the lineup for the Cubs on Friday, was hit by a pitch in the left ankle on Thursday. He's probably going to return to the lineup today for the Cubs in a doubleheader. Will Myers, obviously, he's on the IL for the Padres with the knee inflammation, and Brent Rooker was called up. If you have not seen my reaction to that, I did it on the pregame show live yesterday, and I clipped it. It's available on this YouTube channel. Go check it out in a separate video. It wasn't a surprise to me that Will was placed on the IL, by the way. That's kind of my Will Myers take on that. Let's see here. Going through some comments before getting out of here. Oh, Jason had not heard about Girardi getting fired. Yep. Well, there you go. Eric says, wonder how soon or later Tingler gets another manager job. Where? In Mexico? In the Dominican? Maybe that's disrespectful, but I think it's pretty clear that he wasn't ready to be a manager. And being under Rocco Baldelli as the bench coach, that's probably a great experience for him. But I don't think that teams are going to be like, oh, we got to go talk to Jace Tingler. I don't think that's going to happen in the next manager hiring cycle or anything like that. Kevin says, what's up with Adrian Morejon? When is he back? I don't know when he's going to be back, but he's currently in Double-A, making some rehab appearances. I'm talking kind of slow because I'm looking up his game logs, his minor league stuff right now for you. Okay. With Double-A, he has gone 7 innings, has not allowed a run in 5 games, 5 appearances. He hasn't started any of those games, according to this Baseball Reference. And that is with San Antonio in Double-A. I don't know if I already said that. His whip is .429. So it looks like he's pitching really well. Hasn't given up a home run, obviously. He's walked 2 and struck out 8. But again, these are against Double-A hitters. But that's pretty much the update on Morejon. I don't know when he's going to be ready. I don't know really what the Padres' plan is on him. And it's kind of the same thing with Lamet. Like Lamet, they're just trying to find consistency out of him, and then they'll probably try to bring him up to AAA. But I'm not going to count on Lamet having an impact for the Padres. I'll count on Morejon if he gets to AAA, and they definitely tell us a timeline on him. But I don't think we know a timeline. All right, I think that's going to do it. This has been the Padres Brewers Talking Friars pregame show for June 4th, 2022. Ben Fadden signing off here. Enjoy the game, everybody. See ya.